Hello and welcome to the latest podcast from Fresh Off the Gegenpress. I'm here with Axel for the latest BundesSpeaker podcast ahead of the new weekend in the Bundesliga. We had a nice English Avoca this week. As the Germans love that the English play so many games, they like to call their midweek fixtures after us. So yeah, we had a few interesting ones in midweek. We're going to talk about a few things today, namely the starts that some teams have had to the season. So we're going to have a look at the shocking start for Schalke. We might touch on Werder Bremen as well, who have obviously changed their coach already. We are going to have a quick look at Axel's piece that he wrote today, Trequartista, which was very, very interesting, very insightful, and we're going to be exploring more of that. And then we're going to look at three teams that have started the season incredibly well, two of which everyone will be very happy about, and one of which nobody is very happy about. Well, okay, one city in East Germany
Mm.
that is particularly happy about it, and everyone else is particularly disappointed. But anyway, so that's the program for today. That's what we're going to be talking to you about. Stick around for it. We've got some very interesting insights from both myself and Axel. So I'll bring Axel in now, and then he's going to probably mock me for a bit about Schalke, and then I'll cry for a bit and explain why I'm crying.
Well, hi. It's I might not mock you, to be fair. I'm just not sure why Schalke have done so badly. It's hard to explain in many, many ways. Hard to explain. While my team has done so well, probably one of the three teams we'll discuss later. I think, well, yeah, your team has done as well as anyone would have predicted, or as well as anyone would think, so to speak. 4 games, 0 points gained, and I can't imagine
1 goal scored.
1 goal scored. Oh yeah, that's something though.
Yeah.
1 goal.
Yeah, it took 4 games to get to that.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's truly horrible. And for a team like Schalke, you expect them to at least won in like 2 games out of 4. Considering the teams they faced, at least on paper, teams they faced, they haven't been that good, except from Bayern, of course. But they've been unlucky with their opponents, because they faced Frankfurt, Hertha, and Cologne, and all these three teams have started the season so well. So they've been a bit unlucky, of course. It's hard to say anything else, but I mean, considering their economical situation and their material and the new manager and how good it looked before the season, it's of course a major disappointment, and it's hard to disagree. I would say.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say the results have really been the problem. It's been the performances.
Mm.
No one really. Bentaleb is the only one who seems to have covered himself in any sort of glory in the opening weeks. Everyone seems to be a bit slow out of the blocks. A couple have almost gone backwards out of the blocks instead of forwards. I mean, reading reviews of their matches, watching highlights and that sort of thing. I watched the entire Bayern game, which is the only one they've actually played reasonably well in. It's just been incredibly disappointing. It's not the results themselves. It's frustrating to lose 4 games on the trot, but sometimes that happens. Like you can hit a rut, you can not get the results you need, but none of those games Schalke deserved to win. They could have drawn against Bayern, but I mean, really, they laboured against Frankfurt. They haven't created enough chances against any of the teams, and it's very odd what's going on, because there's no real sort of rhythm to the way they play. Imbolo's not really getting much game time, which is strange considering De Santo and Choupo-Moting haven't exactly been prolific in the last couple of years. Huntelaar's not the player he used to be, and Imbolo is the club record signing, and he's sitting on the bench a lot of the time. So there are a few sort of sideways glances being cast at what's going on there. The defence, Fairman's been Fairman. He's been fantastic. Beyond that, Naldo has had a very weak start to the season. They don't really know who the first choice right back is by the looks of things. Raman Barber's looked good. One of the other players who's actually come in and impressed. But yeah, there's something that needs to be resolved there and needs to be resolved quickly. And to be honest, it's this whole goal scoring thing. You're not going to win games if you don't score goals, as the old cliche goes. But they haven't really looked like goals, and you know, yeah, teen sensation Max Meyer hasn't created a lot.
Mm.
Um, so there's plenty to worry about if you're a Schalke fan, considering the way we started the season, all these new signings, and I mean, I said in our pre-season talks we probably wanted another striker at Schalke, just someone else to bring in, so that there's no pressure on Embolo and there's no reliance on Huntelaar. There's someone else that can definitely score goals at this level, but that didn't happen, and I wonder if we're really seeing the consequences of that.
Mm. Yeah, sounds fair. I'm not sure if I know Max Weinzierl can actually take much blame for when they play, because I mean, sure, his team setup hasn't been on point at times. As I said, Embolo maybe should have played quite a lot more, but his tactics haven't been bad in most games. They just haven't worked out, considering the team hasn't tried enough to make them work out. It seems like. So I can't see Weinziel getting too much of blame for the way they started the season, but I can see the players getting the blame. Some players, especially like Ronaldo, especially of course, and Stambouli
Yeah.
as well, possibly.
Stambouli, I'm not so sure.
No,
Naldo certainly hasn't. Yeah, the game against Cologne was certainly a bit of a nadir for him so far this season, and that's quite an achievement given how badly he started it. But I think we're likely to see Nastasic and Hervides play in the next game.
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. I feel like Nastasic is one of those that's slightly underrated. Really, didn't get much of a chance at Man City when he was there, and I don't know. I feel
Mm,
like he's one that could really solidify that defense with Weltmeister Hervides. So
absolutely.
let's see how that goes. But that sort of links into your Trequartista article from today. So a player that I feel like Schalke has been lacking
Mm.
is someone like a Charles Aranguiz, who's one of my favourite players in the league, or a Gonzalo Castro, or a Vladimir Darida. And you talked in a little bit of detail today
Mm.
in a sort of in your Friday wanderings. You had a chat about this position on the pitch. So I'm going to ask you to just vocalize that for us and tell us about what you wrote about and where you see this going in future.
Well, yeah. The play type I was writing about was the kind of a box-to-box midfielder, but the one who isn't really, just a box-to-box midfielder. The one who is a mix between the defensive playmaker, the attacking midfielder, and the box-to-box midfielder. Some kind of a mix between those three. And I think Gonzalo Castro, even Rakitic, especially Vladimir Darida, Charles Aranguiz, they kind of epitomize that role in a very astute way. So, and this play type is, well, the kind of player who contributes in defense and attack, while he as well helps out everyone on the pitch with his pressing and his stamina. But he has got some great technical ability, so he can transport the ball from defense to attack and create chances or create lead up to chances, and that way that kind of play is very important for every team, because a team can't only do with a defensive playmaker or defensive midfielder and an attack midfielder, because then it's this kind of a big space between those two players, which the attacking mid has to drop down and clear out, so to speak. So to make the attacking midfielder even more, let's say, productive, you need this kind of a box-ish, as I call it, midfielder who can transport the ball from defense to attack, from the building defensive playmaker to the attacking creative midfielder.
Yeah,
And without that player, it's a bit stale,
yeah,
and a bit boring as well, of course.
Yeah, you find that teams are playing long balls out from the back, so there's a sort of a divide between the four defenders and the two holding midfielders, and then the four players that are further forward.
Mm.
And you were suggesting that one of the holding midfielders then becomes a link,
Yeah,
and you find that they're very athletic, very high stamina
yeah,
players, and that
exactly.
they can get from that defensive work up to the attacking work and play the ball through. They're sort of the most important player, and if you're playing a 4-2-3-1, it then becomes a 4-1-4-1 when you're attacking.
More or less, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Kind of like, yeah, exactly like Bruce Dortmund later with Gonzalo Castro, who has
yeah,
done that role his at the club, and he's been that player who makes everything work in attack, especially in defense. Not as much. In defense, they have Julian Weigl as well, and very good defense, of course. But in attack, he's been more important than people give him credit for.
yeah,
And together with Rafael Guerreiro and at times as well Mario Götze, they've created lots and lots of chances.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, that kind of player, that kind of second holding midfielder in that, two in the 4-2-3-1 is might just be the most important player on the two attacking, let's say not halves, but those two thirds of the pitch.
yeah. The one that links the defensive third, the midfield third, and the attacking third, and is active in all of them. And when
Exactly.
they come off the pitch, you notice they're no longer there, sort of thing. He's the sort of the only player you can't take off, but the one who runs around the most, so you might need to, sort of thing.
Exactly, and that's the thing that's probably most astonishing about them, that they can run the whole games. The whole games, they can run the whole games, and they run the whole games.
Yeah,
And but their stamina is so good that they rarely need substituting. They
yeah,
they can run the whole game,
yeah,
which is very important for the teams who have these kind of players, and those teams often have. I mean, like Hertha Berlin last season had this kind of player. Um, Mainz had this kind of player as well in Daniel Latza,
yeah,
and in a way, and Borussia Dortmund had him as well. Gonzalo Castro and Gundogan is that kind of player as well,
yeah,
ish, and Hertha Berlin in Darda is one of the most obvious examples. Of course, mostly due to my love for him, of course.
yeah,
And Leverkusen had a player from like March, February, like, and that's when Charles Rangis came back, as you said many times. That's when Bayer Leverkusen started to play fluid attacking football again,
yeah,
and it started to look good. And of course, Bayern Munich had a player as well in Arturo Vidal, who is also one of the most obvious choices for that
Vidal's one of my
position.
favorite players in that
Yeah,
position.
he's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I mean, teams lack this kind of play. They often, it's often quite obvious. I mean, Real Madrid has that kind of play in Modric, especially in Modric,
Yeah,
and Barcelona in Rakitic, also
yeah,
one of the most obvious choices. Arsenal, from time to time, depends on what kind of mood Santi Cazorla is.
yeah,
Ramsey isn't intelligent enough, in my opinion, to fill that role. He's a bit too selfish, often.
yeah,
He has the stamina and the technical ability and the vision to do it, but he hasn't got the football understanding to execute that role as well as most other players do. And Chelsea had that when they won the Premier League. They had Ramirez, who then went on to left for Chinese league, which I still can't understand why,
no,
etc., etc., etc. So most of the winning teams have had this kind of player,
yeah.
and
And he's often like these are often, in our opinion, the player that goes unnoticed. So a lot of
yeah,
these players, you see them on the team sheet; they're there every week. they chip in every so often with a goal. I mean, Orangi should have chipped in with 2 goals on what was that, Tuesday, Wednesday night against Augsburg. He managed to miss a sitter and a penalty, so
Yep.
that was less than ideal. But they're often the players that you really, really miss when they're not in the team. It's the sort of that Modric is a really, really good example that everyone noticed how good he was once he left Spurs rather than when he was there.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
these are the yeah. So in the coming weeks, we're gonna have a bit of a deeper look at this player. We're gonna try and find a name
Oh
for
yes.
the position. We're gonna see
And
if one exists already,
a name.
and if it does, we're gonna use it. And if it doesn't, we're gonna make one up.
Mm, mm.
Yeah, we want to really look into this. We want to see tactically how they influence the game. We want to see the best examples around Europe, not just in the Bundesliga, but all over the continent. So yeah, we'd love to hear your opinions on it, and we'd love to hear which players you think fit into that category, which players you think go missing when people talk about this position. So yeah, get in touch with us, let us know, and we'll be sharing our thoughts and sharing your thoughts over the coming weeks.
Mm.
Um, right, so we're now going to switch the focus slightly from the bottom half, well, bottom two, um, where Werder Bremen are also hiding out. So
Yeah.
the Schalke fans are pretty happy that there's a team even worse than them in the league.
Obviously. Obviously.
Um, Werder Bremen have been pretty embarrassing so far.
As always.
Yes. Well, as always in recent times at
Yeah.
least.
Oh yeah. Of course.
But yes, we would rather talk about the top half of the table
Mm.
because
My team's there.
we have a Frankfurt fan on the show, so why would we
Ah,
not want to? So we're going to talk about Frankfurt. We are going to talk about Cologne, and we are going to talk about, whisper it quietly, RB Leipzig. So, would you prefer to start with your team, or would you prefer to finish the podcast
um,
with your team?
I think I'll prefer to finish it
Finish with
because
it.
I might speak a bit too much on Niko Kovac. So, oh well,
Okay,
no.
all right. Well, we'll start.
I can start with it. So I will have to limit myself.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
I'll come and cut you off.
Yeah. Right. Good.
Okay, great. So, all right, you have 60 seconds uninterrupted without repetition.
Okay. 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 Let's go.
Go, Frankfurt. What's gone right? What's really changed from last season?
Well, first of all, the defense, the defensive stability is something else, and Kovac has brought this into. And he's made, especially David Abraham. He has somehow made David Abraham a really good defender, which I didn't think was possible personally. And the signings of the summer have also been really good. I think Jesus Vallejo is a really, really good centre back who has together with Abraham has stabilized our whole often rather fragile defense in a very good way, which has led to our midfield feeling more secure, and especially our defensive midfield, where we have brought in a very ball secure defensive midfielder in Omar Mascarell, who has done very, very well so far, and has been kind of the defensive playmaker for us, while Shabakushti or Makoto Hasebe have been this box-to-box-ish midfielder who has transported the ball from defense to attack, and in a really surprisingly good way. And in attack, of course, we struggled last season, at least during Kovac time. But now we've found net almost every game. I mean, sure, there's only 4 games, but still, in 3 months of 4, we've scored, I think it's 5 goals, which is good.
Yeah,
And Alex Meyer scored 2, which is great. And
yeah, great to see him
even
back
it's
fit.
very good, and he's so important to our success. So
Yeah,
without him, we're nothing still. So I'm really happy with the season, and especially Niko Kovac and his brother, of course. They're a
yeah,
success so far, more of a success than I would expect it to be
yeah.
honest.
All right, go on then. Give us 3 things that you've been impressed with from the Kovac brothers.
Well, their tactical ability,
Okay.
honestly, it's something else it's different from Amnifes tactical
Hmm.
ability. It's something else. It's more modern in a way. It's more.
I was going to say, do you think it helps that they've been players more recently? They've been high level professionals in more recent years.
Sure. I mean, it's much more modern in most ways. It's more mature. You can see that the players really understand what to do. I think the coach brothers can really explain really well to the players what they shall do on the pitch, which is very important with with communicating with players and stuff. And as well, he has with a few fan campaigns, he's gotten the fans on his side, which is at Frankfurt is one of the most important things for a coach. You have to have the fans on your side, because if the fans revolt, then things start to fall apart quite quickly as well, which was kind of the case with Fair in the last few months of its recent tenure. And 3 are defense, as I said before, with its tactical bit, but the defense and the signings, they've been so clever. And the way we've set up our defense before every game has been very clever as well. The first goal we conceded was a lucky shot from a right back at Darmstadt, and the second goal was Shigrito, which was a very nice goal, to be honest. And sure, I mean, we've conceded quite a few chances, but we have both a really good goalkeeper in Lukas Radecki, who's been amazing so far, and we also have a very good defensive duo in Okshipka and Chandler, the wingbacks who helped out in central defense more than they maybe would have in another team, which is really good to see, which also might be some kind of tricks from Kovac to make the defense work as a unit instead of 4 players. It works like a unit. It moves like a unit. It plays like a unit, and it looks solid in all ways possible. So I'm really happy with this season so far. Of course, I'm really happy. I mean, with 9 points from 4 games, it's fantastic. And tomorrow we face Berlin, and Berlin lost their last game, and Vladimir Darida is injured, so it's looking good.
Let's hope, yeah. Well, it's certainly been a good start for them. Another team that have had a very, very good start, maybe less surprising, given the way they finished last season, particularly Cologne, right up there at the start of the season. The goats, the Billy Goats, climbing high up the mountain. Keep that analogy going. But yeah, so have you been impressed? Obviously, you've been impressed with them so far. What particular has stood out? Is it just the way they've carried on from last season, or anything specific that they've changed that's really made a difference, or is it just one of those really quick starts like teams sometimes make? And do you think they'll fall off?
First of all, I have to ask you this. Do you know the name of the goat? What it's called?
Hennes.
Thank you.
And it is is it the 7th or the 8th? It's either Hennes the 7th or Hennes the 8th.
I think it's the 7th.
7th.
Yeah, thank you. Nice. Good, thank you. So, I'm actually very optimistic regarding Köln, because the way they started last season was also, very good speed, very fluid attacking play, and a very, very good defense. I think they finished last season with a very good defensive record, mostly down to Kimo Horn, of course. But I'm in most ways very impressed by the way Cologne have played this season, and until the last game against Schalke, they hadn't conceded a single goal. So
that's the first good thing Schalke have done this season.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Cologne had the longest streak in all of Europe's top 5 divisions, didn't they? They were the last team in all the top 5 divisions to concede a goal.
Wow.
So that's a very impressive stat that come out in the week.
Yep. And furthermore, I think the coach is truly good enough to take them to Europa League, without a doubt. I think Sturga doesn't only have the charisma to be a top coach, but he also has the tactical ability and the tactical brilliance at times to take Cologne to the level they perhaps deserve as a city and as a club and as fans, of course. I'm personally really fond of Cologne, not only as a city, because it's a very nice city and very nice beer as well, but the fans are so passionate about the club and about the city as well. So it's really nice to see the fans get this kind of entertainment week out week in. So it's it's very nice to see, and I do hope that this continues. I would love to see Cologne do a Hertha Berlin or a Mainz and like finish in the top 7. It would be amazing.
Yeah, Sturger's one of those. He's like Christian Streich, isn't he? He's one of those managers that you just, oh yeah, he's there with that club and he can take that club a long way. And sort of like Weinzel was at Augsburg as well, like a
Yeah,
manager that can cut it in the second division, can cut it in the first division, and you feel given the opportunity they'd be able to cut it in the Europa League as well. They've got a very nice
yeah,
setup there that lends itself. And I mean, really, if you take out Yannick Gerhard disappearing for some cash at Wolfsburg, I think they would really have been. They could even have been pushing for fifth, fourth, maybe by the end of the season.
yeah, absolutely,
If
absolutely.
if they'd kept him, he does look like quite a young talent going there.
Yeah, it is.
Um,
Um,
all right. So speaking of young talents, um, Timo Werner and Red Bull Leipzig, RB Leipzig. Sorry, not Red Bull. Slip of the tongue there. No one genuinely believes that Red Bull have anything to do with that club, do they?
no,
Um,
no, not at all.
Anyway, so it's been an interesting start to the season. The Dortmund fans boycotted the away game. The Gladbach fans didn't. Um, so far, even Hoffenheim have given them a hostile reception.
Wow,
Um,
wow. Oh yeah,
yeah,
right.
I mean
I saw that.
the first Red Bull. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, the kind of a choreo-ish thing with the lots of signs saying like was like Hoffenheim like might be a plastic club or some kind of plastic, but you are the essence of it ish.
Yeah,
Says
one
some
of the
things along the lines of that. Fantastic.
one of the banners said, "We want our title as most hated club back."
Right.
Um,
Good. Thank you.
there's not a lot of not a lot of positivity from basically anywhere in Germany apart from the area around Leipzig, where it seems to have really caught the imagination. The club are getting a lot of people from East Germany on board, so in that sense, it's good.
That's
And
good.
they've started the season really well. They've beaten Dortmund. They're unbeaten so far. They took a point off Gladbach. They won a point against Gladbach. An exciting opening day against Hoffenheim. So you can't take away from what they do on the pitch, and really at the end of the day, that's what football is about. It's about what you do on the pitch, and they're definitely a good team to watch. I've enjoyed to a certain extent. I've enjoyed watching them. The game against Dortmund was very much a sort of smash and grab, but they look like they've got goals in them. Uh, they have a young team. That's one of the things about them. They develop their young players. They don't buy old. They don't overpay on the old players. But yeah, it's off the pitch where the problems are. But if we're talking about what's going on the pitch, we can only really be admire what they've done. And okay, maybe they've bought players from clubs that wouldn't usually buy it. They've bought too many from Red Bull Salzburg, and etc. etc. There's numerous problems with the way the club is run, but the players once they've brought them in, once they put them on the pitch, they're set up well.
Yeah.
They're creative in attack. They counter quickly. They're pretty exciting to watch. They've got some very young talents in there. I saw unfortunately today Forsberg is injured for a while, but
Oh no. Oh.
he's a player that really excited me when I watched him in the second division last year.
Yeah, and as a Swede with the qualifiers coming up, it's no good.
Yeah. So
He's a very good player.
that's a
Yes.
shame on that level. It's a shame on that level. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, we can put aside what what's going on off the pitch, and we can say, congratulations to Red Bull on making that jump pretty successfully.
Certainly.
I mean, a lot of the time you see that clubs get promoted and do well at the start of the season. So Paderborn did 2 years ago. Ingolstadt did last season, and I think eventually people will work out where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, and at some point they're going to have to go into the lion's den, so to speak, when they go these away games to Dortmund and Schalke, Gladbach and Cologne. They're going to get absolutely torn apart by the home crowd. So whether the young players can stand up to that sort of intimidation will be an interesting one to see. But yeah, for now they're doing well. They're up in the higher reaches of the table.
Yeah.
So that'll be exciting. All right. Just quickly before we finish, then, which game will you be watching, or if you had the option, which game would you watch this weekend? What's your recommended fixture?
Recommended is probably, it's hard to say. My personal fixture, the one I'll watch, is obviously Frankfurt versus Berlin. However, that game might just be quite boring due to both teams, having very good defenses, and with Darda away, not as fun anymore. And of course, I'll watch a game because it's Frankfurt, and I can't miss a Frankfurt game. But for the neutral, I would probably say either Cologne versus Leipzig is a fun game.
Oh, that's one that jumped out at me.
Hamburg
that looks like
by Munich is often fun, of course.
Especially if you're a Bayern fan. I wouldn't recommend that if you like Hamburg.
But at Volksparkstadion, Bayern Munich haven't done too well in the last few seasons. I think they haven't won in like 3 seasons. They played 0-0 last season, I think, and the season before that as well, if I'm not wrong. Or well, they've struggled more away than home against Hamburg, at least. So it's not like it's set up for an upset, but it's more interesting than a game at Allianz, obviously.
Yeah.
And tonight's game is cool as well, but probably not as competitive as Cologne versus Leipzig, when it's Dortmund versus Freiburg. Fun game.
I'm looking forward to tonight's game, actually. It's definitely not one. I mean, Dortmund, the form they're on at the moment, it might not be a competitive game, but I mean, if you don't want to watch Dortmund at the moment, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like if you're a football fan that doesn't want to stick a Dortmund game on at the moment, I don't know what's wrong with you, because they've scored, what was it? They've scored 5 in the last 3 games. In each game, sorry.
I think
they've scored 15 in the last.
From last Wednesday to this Wednesday, they scored 17 goals.
Yeah, 6 against Legia, 5 against Wolfsburg,
and 6 against Darmstadt.
6 against Darmstadt. Yeah, so Freiburg are another minnow heading north.
Yep.
Let's see how that one goes. I am kind of excited for Mainz Bayer Leverkusen. I think that will be interesting. But for me, it's got to be the Cologne Leipzig game Sunday evening. That's the real standout one this weekend. I think a bit of a coincidence that's ended up on sort of prime time on a Sunday, but that should be good. 2 teams that are going well so far. The first sort of big away clash for Leipzig, where they're going come across an intimidating home crowd, and we'll see how Hennes and his men can get on. I'm excited for that. Right.
How about
and there's probably the other one where there's probably going to be a lot of goals. Werder Bremen against Wolfsburg.
Yeah, most probably.
I reckon Gomez will finally hit his stride in that one and start tucking those chances away.
Yep.
Which could get embarrassing for Bremen.
How about Schalke's game?
They're playing Hoffenheim on Sunday lunchtime. Given the way Hoffenheim have been attacking and the way Schalke have been defending, it could be embarrassing. So I'm definitely not going to recommend anyone to watch it. Just because I don't want to see my team get embarrassed on TV.
Fair enough.
But yeah, if you're a neutral, And if I was a neutral recommending it, I would definitely suggest going and having a look at that.
And personally, Frankfurt's game, I've said on the Swedish site where I write about Frankfurt, I said 0-0, but I could see Frankfurt winning as well, like 1-0. It wouldn't surprise me.
Good.
Yeah, it's good.
Right, I think that's a wrap on today's show.
Yeah,
We would like you to keep coming and joining us at freshgegenpress.com. We've got loads of articles going up all the time. We've got the brand new Bundesliga, which is an exciting little section that we've got going, where we're working with with a creative artist to see her work in action. We are looking at adding various sections for Spanish, Italian, and French football, or anything else that people want to write about. But those three in particular, we're looking to expand into in the coming weeks and months. So if that's something that tickles your fancy, if you want to write for us, please get in touch. The Twitter is at Fresh Gegenpress, or I'm at Ali Haggis. And you can find all of that information there or on the Facebook site. Thank you for listening this week. We'll be back again with another podcast very shortly. But yeah, for now, thank you for listening to BundesSpeaker and speak to you again soon.
Syns vi.